Today on Dumb Pitches, my guest is Liz Glazer, and we get into her first time doing stand-up was actually while she was a law professor, and after she did a little bit of stand-up for her class, she had to be evaluated by a psychiatrist. It's a great story. Stick with it. It's a little bit of a long episode, but it is so fun. Here we go. Dumb Pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. I'm Monica Nevi, your host. This is the show where we talk to successful people about their worst ideas. So excited for our guest in studio with me today, Liz Glazer.
Hi, Monica.
Hi.
Thanks for introducing me as successful.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it's always like that's a moment.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Am
you
I?
are.
Well, okay. So
I'm gonna tell them why here in a second.
Oh, you're gonna do the bio?
I'm gonna do a little bit.
Okay,
I'm not gonna read your whole bio, but
no,
I'm gonna. We like to give.
Then I'm leaving.
Yeah, you're like I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
We like to give your good ideas first, so people know you haven't only
Sure.
had bad ideas.
Okay,
So,
great.
Liz Glazer, hilarious stand-up comedian, winner of the Boston Comedy Festival, and you won another one, right? Yes, the Ladies of Laughter competition.
Yeah.
Competitions suck. It's hard to do. That's amazing.
Well, it's a specific kind of thing. Don't you think?
Yes.
It's like it is comedy.
Yeah.
But also it's its own thing, which the first one I ever did was Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Which
how
is-
I started
it's a
coming to
whole
Seattle to
experience.
do comedy. Yeah.
Which is funny because I always tell people who do
Yeah.
that one,
Uh-huh.
meet the other comics while you're here.
Yeah.
Meet as many people as you can because that's what you're going to get out of it. Even now, if you win,
Yeah.
it doesn't help you too much.
I
So-
did. I mean, I didn't even advance beyond the first week.
Yeah, I only ever did it once in 2013, and I
Yeah. And
move
it's
on.
like, okay, whatever. But like I met so many people and I hate to say, like, it's like if you don't win something, then it's like, I don't think it's like entertaining to be like, well, I did really well. And it's like,
Yeah.
you didn't win.
Yeah.
So whatever. So I don't mean this to sound that way, but like I did well on some nights,
Yeah.
obviously not well enough on some other nights, which I
Right.
don't mean to bury in the comment,
Yeah.
but to have like made a good impression, enough of which got me like goodwill and also like friendships
Yeah.
with people who were part of the competition, bookers as part of the competition, Bo Johnson, who's amazing and a dear
Yeah.
friend of ours,
Yeah.
who was
Former guest of the
hosting.
old podcast.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah. He's the best. And so he was hosting, and like, we became friends,
Yeah.
and then I would come back to Seattle.
Which is how
We
we met,
met,
and
yeah.
how I keep booking you for
Yeah.
stuff and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah,
fun
totally.
stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Very exciting. But anyway, I didn't mean to get in the
No,
way
that's
of my
okay.
bio.
You've also done some acting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
You're on ABC's For Life.
It's true.
CBS's Bowl.
Uh-huh.
You were featured in the Wall Street Journal
Yeah.
and some
Yeah.
other magazines.
Premier
Ooh,
comedy
that's
publication.
a lot.
Yeah.
All this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
I'm
it's like, whatever. But yeah. And I, are you reading?
Nah, well, I don't know. Normally I don't
Yeah.
tell everybody about
Right.
your education or anything, but you were quite educated as well. And
Well,
I feel
yeah.
like you should get credit for that too.
Sure. And honestly, I mean, I leave it on my bio because sometimes, well, I do like a lot of, law school gigs and like law firms and stuff like that, and synagogues, and like those, all three of those
like that helps.
setting,
you for-
they're
yeah.
like, oh, we want to know about your resume and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it happened, and like I had this whole other life, and now I'm like unlearning all of it,
Yeah.
essentially.
Wow. That's
So
interesting.
yeah, but my bad idea. So should I get into it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, because I feel like it takes me so long to say anything.
Okay.
This is like I've just started headlining, clubs and stuff, which like, thank God, it's great, whatever. I sound so religious in saying that.
Thank God. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
God is good. I mean, they are,
Yeah.
but also like I'm just conscious of the
you're like,
fact
it's unnecessary.
that I sound like
Maybe
the
this is why it
most
takes you so long to
Probably.
say stuff. You're like thinking
what
about what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, probably. I think those are not my best moments. But the thing I was saying about headlining is like last night, after a 47-minute set, I said to the guy, I'm like, I don't think I've finished one single joke. Because, and that's the thing that I really love about headlining, because my personality and brain or whatever like is so like, wait, what's that? I guess it's ADD
Maybe.
or something. I don't know. I don't care so much about
Diagnosis, yeah.
But it's kind of like in a competition set, just to go back to that, you can't do that.
No,
You gotta
I
be
was thinking
tight.
about this
Yeah.
like this week because,
Right.
it's so popular and helpful and stressful that we
Yeah.
need to put up these clips,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And sometimes my clips will get like pretty mean comments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Oh.
I think what it is,
Yeah.
because I have low energy,
Okay.
and it's rarely about my body anymore. It used to be about my body all the time.
Oh,
Now it's
yeah.
not as much, but it depends on the clip.
Yeah.
And I think it's because now when I'm headlining, I
Yeah.
really like to cultivate this like, we're just having fun together.
totally.
It's a team.
Right.
You don't get that with a little 30-second clip or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the fun that's coming, and
Yeah.
so then a lot of it is like, not a lot of it. It's like you get like 3 comments, whatever. But
Right.
it's a
No,
mean
yeah.
man who's
Yeah.
like, I don't understand why the audience is laughing so hard. Like that's what I
Right.
get sometimes, and I'm like, well, yeah, you're not there, and
You're
this is
not
really
there.
fun. If you don't like the joke, just move on. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's that of like,
Right.
I'm more comfortable in a
Yeah.
longer set of like
Yeah.
saying some of the things I'm thinking,
Mhm.
even though it's not part of the bit, and
Right.
like it's this back and forth more so with the people in the room than it is
Totally.
obviously meant for Daryl watching on
For
his toilet
sure.
or whatever.
I perform only for Daryl, I would say.
I should start doing that.
No, but I hear you. I mean, you're so good in general.
Thank you.
I love you as a person and a comedian and a podcast host and just like everything.
This is why. This
Yeah.
is the guest. This
Yeah.
is why.
No, but I mean it. And also you're great about uploading clips,
Sometimes. Yeah.
which is something that I endeavor to be better at. And one of the things that, because the moments that I'm like, oh, that was an electric moment from stage that I have are so often these chaotic, like riff type, and I don't, it's not, is it crowd work? I'm not even sure. Like I envy people who are able to have a crowd work moment that's, even if it's edited together, succinct enough to be
when it gives
a
them
clip.
enough information
Yeah.
about what was happening in
Yeah.
the room, which is so
Right.
hard. Yes, this last weekend,
Yeah.
sold out show at Indianapolis in
Amazing.
Helium, small
Yeah.
room, but there was
I love
4
Helium.
birthdays.
Yeah. Wow.
And they were all hammered, and like but
Yeah.
they were there on purpose, which was great, made me
Sure.
feel good,
Totally.
But that's all we did. We just
Yeah.
talked to them and
Yeah.
talked, and I was like, it was going so well.
Yeah.
Everyone's having so much fun. Clap,
Yeah.
it's chatty, but they're
Right.
in with me,
Right,
and I
right,
was
right.
like, oh, I got this on tape. Like this is
Yeah.
gonna be great. There's just not. It's like. It's just you can't explain to
Yeah.
someone watching
know.
what is going on,
Right.
And so most of it, I'm like, oh, I felt good about it while I was doing it, but I don't think this is gonna
Yeah.
be any sort of thing,
Yeah.
like it. So you're right. And I'm not that good at putting up clips because I let it bother me. Like I'd want to check it too much, or like I'm worried about the comments or whatever.
Sure.
And so then I get in these ruts where I'm like, I'm not going to post anything.
Oh,
so
got it.
you don't
Okay.
deserve it.
Well, my impression of you is that
That's
you're
good.
great at it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And maybe that's it. I'm very picky about
Sure.
what I put up.
Yeah.
And for that reason, though, half of it is posting as much as you can all the time
Sure.
and make sure. And so I don't do that,
Yeah.
even though maybe I should be less critical about it. But
Yeah,
anyways.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have felt that too. And I guess like there have been a few times where it wasn't like headlining sets, but like it was like, let's say a 10 or 15 minute set, and I'm like, okay, and I'm in it with like the editing, and I'm like this moment, and then it kind of works like, as a clip all together with this chaotic energy. But to go through a 45
yeah.
and create that, because we're not talking a phone video and open up Splice
Yeah.
and like, oh, that moment, because
Yeah.
that I can do.
Yeah.
first thing in the morning. Oh, instead of scrolling.
Yeah.
Because I like to have
Yes.
hacks where I'm like, okay, I scroll first thing in the morning. I hate it.
Yeah.
Right? That's not good.
No.
I've read 1,000 articles on Medium about how I'm not supposed to do that.
Yes.
Supposed to be
It's
drinking
so
my
funny.
water with lemon and whatever. And here I am scrolling,
Yes.
being jealous of shows I'm not booked on.
Yep. And
or
getting
something.
it. That's how I'm
right?
starting my day.
Yeah. Sucks.
Not good.
But I can pick up my phone and do something productive. And so I was in that for a little bit. But I can't do that with 45. I
Yeah.
don't have a 45-minute video on my phone.
Yeah.
You
well,
know?
and then if you do, it's
Yeah.
still like just so
Yeah.
much to go through
Right,
and
exactly.
cut it up. And,
Yeah. So anyway, so I don't know where that leaves us. But okay, I want to get to the bad idea.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, which is so I used to be a law professor,
Right.
which is the part of the bio that requires all the education, arguably.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but and the thing is, like, I was doing that for 7 years before I ever did stand-up comedy.
Okay.
And I had just gotten tenure, and I was like, okay, like I had kind of an existential, not crisis really. I would a little bit later, but like at that point it was
Not
like
right
more
then.
of a existential moment
Okay.
where I was like, okay, I like climbed this big mountain, and then I got to the top of it kinda, and I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah. Did you feel like now what? Or were you just not fulfilled by what you were doing, I guess?
I guess like it wasn't, I think it was a little subtler than that, maybe.
Okay.
Because I liked it. And I was also aware that at least for law, it was a good gig. Like to teach law full time, like
Yeah.
you make good money.
Yeah.
You get to do kind of whatever you want. You get to write. You know what I mean? So there's a
Yeah.
lot about it actually. And I think this is, I guess we see things as we are.
Yeah.
Right. And so especially now, like I'm approaching 10 years on March 5th, actually, it'll be 10 years since my first ever stand-up set.
Wow.
And, now kind of like I start to see all the similarities between law professoring
Yeah.
and comedy. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so the same.
That's interesting. I've
Yeah.
always thought, because like, and I don't know, you'd have to do all
Yeah.
the statistics, but a lot of teachers
Yeah.
and a lot of lawyers
Yeah.
really end up kind
They
of
do.
doing stand-up or thinking about it at
Yeah.
least. And I guess
Yeah.
obviously there are similarities, but
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's right. And also just kind of the social and political aspects of it. Like
okay.
I'm like, okay, so getting into this or that club is like your US News rankings and like where you teach.
Oh, right.
And like, so a lot of the currency of legal academia is like these articles, like long articles about minutia in law that
You're
basically,
writing.
yeah, that
Wow.
like professors write.
Okay.
And there's a submission cycle. So it's like festivals or whatever.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, it is
And
like the same.
everybody's writing these things.
Which is the worst part of stand-up, so you're already experienced in that
I
part
guess,
of it.
Yeah. So it's like you spend the summer or whatever it is writing this godforsaken thing, right? And you get like, I got into it, you know what I mean? Because it's like you're writing for like 80 pages. There are these like long footnotes, and you got to be in it,
Yeah.
in order
I've
to
never
do it.
read law literature,
There's no reason.
but
Yeah.
I've always assumed that it is very boring, just based on how people in law school talk
Yeah.
about it.
Well, and I guess like as it is, as
Yes,
a
it is boring,
genre,
yeah.
I
Okay.
think that that's fair,
As a
right?
genre.
And I
That's-
say
yeah.
that with a lot of compassion for the writers, right?
Yeah.
Having been one of them.
Right. Well, and I'm
Because-
sure
Yeah.
if you are in that,
Yeah.
profession or whatever,
Right.
you are into it,
Yeah.
know. But as an
Right.
outside, like,
Right.
okay, are we just reading this? This seems kind of boring.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's like there are exceptions to it, and so some of that can be because of the topic. Like I remember, I have a friend, Holning Lau, who's a professor. He's amazing as a person and an academic. He teaches at UNC Law. And I remember going to a Mets game. This was at the very beginning of my teaching career, and he had just come out with an article. It was like an early article in his career, and I was like, and I don't love baseball. Like it would be a better story if I was like, and I'm a huge Mets fan, but I'm not.
Right.
I'm not that kind of lesbian. I don't even remember why I was there. But anyway, I had his article out, and it was a page turner.
Really?
The entire Mets
So
game. Yeah.
at the Mets game, you're reading this whole
Reading the
wow.
whole thing. And so, but like, he wrote about an interesting thing. He's a good writer. If you're in it with like that set of cases or whatever, because generally those articles are, here's the prevailing wisdom about whatever topic, right? And here's something that people are missing, whether it's that courts aren't seeing that like a certain element should be, critical in their decision making, or people who are debating something are kind of talking past each other. And I, the writer of this article, am here to clarify this. Like if you're in a topic and you care about the minutia, like it's like you're going down a Reddit rabbit hole about something you care about, and that can be interesting.
Yeah,
right. And so sometimes it's interesting because you're into the topic. Sometimes it's like I needed to teach a class about a thing, right? I knew that's what I needed, right? And so then it's news you can use, right? And so you're going through like maybe it's boring to do this topic in property law, right? But for this Tuesday, when I have to teach this class at 11:30 in the morning, you better believe that I'm very interested in this article on the estates and land system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like anything else where it's like, what is boring? What is interesting?
Right.
But I would say you're absolutely right. As a general matter, I don't think people are picking this up like hot off the press.
Right. Oh, I'm just light reading here.
Correct. Right. It's not light reading. I remember there's a book called, this is an older book, but it's like, all my stuff is dated as of when I was like really in the game, the Mets game specifically, but like, and that's the kind of callback that like, it's why is it funny? Because we said that and it wasn't even funny the last time.
Right.
This is the kind of crowd work clip that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because it's funny just because, you were there that moment.
Put it up. Yep.
But it's not funny, right?
Right.
Right. So this is
yes.
This is
if
my
you had just
issue.
said that part and they were like, "What does that have to do with the Mets?"
What
right.
are you talking
because
about?
we were talking about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Daryl is
brings
saying
us
that.
together. Yeah.
I think it
was
brings
like,
us
why
together.
doesn't she like the Mets?
That's so true. It brings us together, and I hate the Mets. Okay,
Okay.
no, I'm kidding. Daryl Strawberry specifically. That is the Daryl who we were talking about, who was the commenter on videos.
Yep.
Okay, so I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a book called Covering by Kenji Yoshino, who's a law professor. I mean, I think he teaches at like Yale or NYU, like whatever. But that's another page turner. It was a law review article, started out, but then it became a book published by Random House. So it's like a general, and then
so then that would be if they're like, okay, this is interesting enough to make it a whole
right,
book.
right, and it is a really good book. I mean, it's a little dated in terms of like the kinds of ideas because he's a gay scholar. A gay person and a gay scholar. And so, it was about like the difference between covering and passing and one other thing. There's like whatever. And it was like we used to pass as like straight. Yeah. Right. And that was the thing. And then now the real injury in discrimination law is that we're told to cover aspects of our identity. And like now, I mean, I think the pub date on this is like 2006.
Okay.
And so now 2023, it's still novel, right? It's novel to have a word for it. It's novel to have like a whole idea surrounding it.
Yeah.
But it's not like novel the way it was in 2006. And so he wrote this law review article that turned into a book that then was a cover story in the New York Times Magazine.
Wow.
And so there are moments where, like, I remember the first time I wrote a law review article and I was joking. I'm like, I'm going to sell the movie rights to this, because like, what? Yeah. Like, why would anybody do that? And, I guess like, I don't think there's a movie of Covering, but like there could be.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
He got pretty close.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so now we've really said nothing and I haven't said any bad ideas. I mostly talked about good ideas of other people. Right. But okay, so that's my background.
Yes.
All right. More extensively than I think I've ever really gotten into it because we were talking about.
But here we are together in the room. We know. Right. Everyone who's listening to this is like, I understand.
Yeah. This is a podcast for Mets fans.
Yes, absolutely.
I would say. And so, and also people who like to go to the games and read law review articles.
Yes.
Okay.
Mets only fans. Yes.
Yeah. Only fans. So that's what I was doing before I ever did stand up. I did stand up because there was this woman I had a crush on. She was an improv teacher. Okay. And I didn't have a crush. I just like thought she was so fearless and amazing.
Right.
And
I see what you're saying.
Magnetic
you're
and whatever.
Just attracted to all of it.
Yeah. And she is. She's a dear friend. And so she was the person who, like, I was very over-caffeinated for a meeting that we had. And by that, I mean specifically, at the time I was prescribed Adderall.
Okay.
I don't know that I need Adderall. I don't think I ever needed Adderall. I might need something to kind of like get on focus or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's debatable. And I don't know that it's Adderall.
Okay.
Moreover, when I got Adderall, I felt like when I filled my prescription, like I had a full tank of gas,
Okay.
you know, and all I wanted to do was drink the gas.
Okay.
And so I would like, I was
This will get
prescribed
me
like
going.
one of them or whatever. And I was like, meaning the bottle. And I
Right.
would just take the bottle. And I was so wild, off the wall, whatever. Then I was meeting with this improv instructor because I was visiting at another law school. I taught in New York. I was visiting in Chicago for the semester.
Okay.
And I I had read this book called How to Flirt
Okay.
by this guy, Marty Westerman.
Okay.
I've tried to find him, but he is not findable, which I guess is like playing hard to get or whatever. But like,
Was that in the book?
not even. Well, because it's a book about like connecting with people.
Okay.
He's basically like,
It's like actually flirting. Not
yeah,
like, okay,
exactly. Like he's like not hunting. Like don't ever hunt.
Okay.
I mean, it was like a good book.
And
for,
you felt like it was good. Like I would
Yeah.
be a little bit weary of a book written by a guy about
Yeah.
flirting, you know, whatever. But
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I wasn't. And I just, it was I read it between 9th and 10th grades because in 9th grade I was really shy.
that seems like an appropriate time to try and understand what flirting is.
Yeah.
I was thinking you were like 26
Old.
and like
yeah, no.
No, okay.
But I read it then, and then I and I really got a lot out of it, and I started doing better socially.
Okay.
And one of the things that Marty Westerman says in How to Flirt, which is out of print also, but I think you can get it on Amazon for like, you know, when you pay a cent, but like $1 million in shipping.
Right.
So it's like one of
It's
those.
one of those, okay.
Anyway, so he says if you have to talk to a person who you're afraid of a little bit,
Okay.
then you should have practice people. Okay. And so you should have like persons 1, 2, and 3. Not that people are numbered, you know.
Right,
But,
but
okay.
yeah.
And then it's like you'll be ready for the person because you talk to these other people.
Okay.
I talked to a lot of people before I came here, by the way.
Perfect.
So
Just
anyway,
outside.
I'm
Just- yeah.
ready. Okay. So anyway, I showed up to this coffee meeting with this improv instructor who I was very attracted to
Right.
as a person.
Yes.
Because I wanted to do one-on-one improv with her because she wasn't teaching anymore. I had
That's a
taken her
thing?
class. No, it's not. And it sounds like maybe it has like sexual
I'm like,
innuendo.
how would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, does
You
that-
can't. Yes, and yeah. But I just wanted to be around her.
Right.
Like I thought she was amazing.
Yeah.
And I think at that time I had just gotten tenure and I was like, what am I doing? Like I like this, but like I don't get why I'm here.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay.
You know? And so I was nervous to talk to her. I was on a lot of Adderall. And then also, I was early at the coffee place, and on a dare with the barista, I took 18 shots of espresso in addition to the Adderall.
What? Why? And why was that a dare? You know what?
I don't remember, and it's a
Okay.
good question.
I'm sure you don't remember after all that. It's just
Right.
a big buzz.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so I sit down for this like coffee date with her, and I am off the wall, like truly,
Just like
okay?
bouncing too.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
right. And I think she just was like, what is this person? And maybe interpreted like the over-caffeination as stage presence or something.
Okay.
Because she then was like, have you ever thought of doing stand-up comedy?
Hmm.
And I was like, no. And then she's like, well, would you do it on my show? And I figured she would be at her show.
Right. So you're like,
So I
yeah, I'll
was
do
like,
whatever
yeah,
you want me to do.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I did it a couple weeks after that.
Really? And you ever thought about doing stand up before?
No.
Okay. So just her saying that, you were like, okay, I'll figure it out.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And normally whenever I talk on stage about the fact that I used to be this and now I'm this
Right.
and whatever, it's obviously a shortened version for jokes that I've
Yeah.
like developed in like festival sets.
Yeah.
You know, like the short
Shorter set,
ones.
yeah.
And really it's like, oh, the first time I ever did stand-up comedy, I felt like I was having a professional orgasm, which is true. That's
Yeah.
something I said to my therapist. And also a professional orgasm is a regular orgasm, but I was 100% sure that it was happening. And so that was like really what felt true. And that's, you know, the very shortened version of the story is like, did it, loved it, sooner rather than later, I would quit my law teaching job and like do it full time. Right. There is also a bad idea that's part of that story.
Well, I'm still stuck on the whole 18 shots of espresso thing.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yes.
So
but
maybe
I'm
that
sure
was
there's
also
another
a bad idea.
For me, I'm like, okay, so I stopped drinking coffee
Yeah.
maybe 10 years ago because I had 3 cups in one day and had a terrible panic attack and had to call 911. So then I was like,
Really?
yeah, and I like drank coffee at the time, but I think it was just my anxiety was getting bad naturally. And so, yeah.
What did 911 say?
They just said they were like, because it was weird. Like my hands go numb, my face goes numb. And then I couldn't feel my legs that time. And I was like, I don't know. I just thought like I was like tried to throw up and stuff. It was weird.
Yeah.
And so it was a long time of that. And normally my panic attacks now, I know how to like get them to go away. Yeah. It did last for 5-10 minutes. Nothing crazy.
Right.
That was like an hour and a half of like really feeling like something is wrong.
Yeah.
So they came and then they took my vitals and they were like, everything is fine except your heart rate is like really elevated.
Wow.
But I had Xanax at the time.
Okay.
And so they were like, take one of those. We think you'll be fine, basically, is what it is. And they were right. Like, you know, after 20 minutes after the Xanax, I was like out of it. But
I'm glad.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was the last time I've had like coffee. I drink like tea and stuff, but anything with like a lot of caffeine, I don't know. I haven't had like Mountain Dew even or anything like that. Yeah. So even like you, like makes me sweat a little bit to hear that you had 18 shots of espresso.
Yeah.
So and I like the idea. I would love to hear her side of that meeting.
Totally.
Because for her not to be like, whoa, and just like, she's like, well, what about stand-up? You know, like and that would be, because if you don't know, there is a little bit of an infighting with stand-up and improv. They don't always like each other, even though a lot of us do both.
Right.
Not me, but a lot of people do both.
Yeah.
But there's still this like stand-up's better than improv, improv's better than stand-up. We're so different kind of thing. Yep. So maybe that was it. She was like, well, we don't want you on the improv side. You should do stand-up.
That's great. I mean, and I suspect she's like a very, magical presence and like, in addition to being talented on stage and stuff, she also, I feel like, has a very good, like, not just an eye for like what someone should be doing, but like meaning like she's not like a talent scout, or whatever. Yeah. But she's like a really spiritually connected person who's just like, I see this for you, and really changed my life. Yeah.
Okay, so you said you did the show because you thought she was going to be there.
Yeah, basically.
Was she not there?
She was there.
She was there. Okay, you made it sound like that's why I was going to do it, but she wasn't.
Yeah. No,
so she was there.
She was there.
So how does the show actually go?
The show goes good.
Okay.
But the thing that I usually don't tell as part of the story is the show before the show. And this was
the bad part.
The bad idea.
Okay.
So I was teaching at the time.
Still.
And everybody, like once that coffee meeting happened, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of coffee with like bold underline italics. Capital coffee meeting happened. I think I told every single person in the city of Chicago, which was where I was at the time, that I was doing stand-up. Like I was like, oh my God, I emailed everybody at the school I was teaching at. I told all my students, like I was telling people on airplanes, I was like, listen, I'm a comedian. I'm doing a show. I like went out and got headshots. I'm like, my life is changing. Okay. And maybe that was like the residual caffeine.
I was going to say, you're like, I got to do something now. Let's go get some headshots.
I've never been more motivated in my entire life. Okay. And so like, I think I have a Facebook page that I don't keep up and should for sure. But like I made it on that day.
Really?
Okay? Yeah. Like I was like,
I did a little bit of that. I mean, I made some interesting choices in the beginning of my career, but I was afraid to tell anybody that I was, and I also had been writing jokes for like a year and a half and I was like ready for this, too ready for the open mic kind of thing. You know?
Okay. So then this is interesting because I wasn't at all.
That's what I'm thinking this whole time. That's why I said, had you thought about it before? You're like, nope.
Not even a little. Okay. And so, but everybody knew because I was shouting it I was creating rooftops.
So did people show up to see you?
They did. But also like in the interim at school, everybody knew that this was imminent.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this day that it's like, when it's, remember snow? I guess it snowed this week, but it's like now snow is like so elusive.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was like one of those days where it snowed a lot, but they didn't cancel school yet,
Right, so we're waiting.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, why don't they just cancel it, whatever? And they would cancel later at like 1 p.m, but I was teaching at 10 a.m, and it's like blizzarding outside.
Yeah.
And so like 5 kids show up to school, and they knew, like everybody else in the world, that I was going to be doing stand-up in like a week and a half or whatever it was. And so they're like, Professor Glazer, it's snowing. It was like classic, like kids in school. Like, can you just
tell us
do your
jokes?
stand-up, right? And had I been like you with jokes, I would have been like, maybe not. I don't know what decision you would have made specifically in that moment.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I probably would have, but I'm just thinking about how it would have gone. I don't know.
Yeah,
And my first open mic went fine, so I'm sure it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
But
like, you would have been like, yes or no, and here's my 5 minutes, and now we're back to regularly scheduled programming. I, at the time, and also as recently as last night, where I did 45 minutes and didn't even finish one joke, right?
Right.
Did not have 5 minutes of jokes. I was like, okay. And I proceeded to do an hour and a half of, like, it was kind of a blur. I remember at one
How
point.
caffeinated were you at that point?
Who's to say?
Okay.
Okay. A blur. It included a Tom Cruise impression at some point, which isn't something I do.
No, I've
but
never
like,
seen that one. But, yeah.
I'm on your show today.
I was going to say, I'm going to bring it up like that. Yeah, okay, good.
Tom Cruise impression. At some point, I remember, like, it's a classroom, and so there was like a hookup to do PowerPoint on like a screen behind you, and like you take your laptop, you whatever, and like generally in that sort of a moment, you would have a PowerPoint about stuff and be like teaching the stuff.
Yeah.
I post Tom Cruise impression, I think, was like, I think I will live create a PowerPoint while I am doing my act. And the PowerPoint creation is performance art. Like, just the creating of the PowerPoint while I'm speaking is funny and artistic and whatever. And like, I at some point was like, I don't even know, like workshopping, whatever it was. And then like finally class is done and that is done.
How were they responding to it this whole time?
I wish I had a great answer to that question.
Okay.
Like, this was, I would say, more for me.
Yeah,
okay?
so you're like, I
like,
don't
it was
really
for
care
them
what,
at first, but then they're like, oh my God.
Well, because that's a long time to be doing that, so I'm just wondering, like, if there's like, or is this going to keep going?
Like, for the first time ever, law students are like, can we get back to property law? And so anyway, so like the class is done finally. And like later that day, I get a phone call from the associate dean. And he's like, hey, Liz, so you're not in trouble, which is like something people only say when
something's wrong, at least. Yeah.
A lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But I just was wondering how you are. And I was like, Jim, I'm amazing, first of all.
Yeah, my life is changing. This is great.
And he's like, okay, because some of your students came by and they were just concerned. And I just said, I was like, well, it's so weird because like I've never felt better in my life. I mean, it was just such a moment of like, something is like really wrong. Were you going to say something? Sorry.
No, I'm so that I have no one. I don't know if that's the response you want after someone's seen you do a live stand-up for the first time. You're like, we're concerned. But I was also thinking that's a nice relationship for them to feel like they could be like, hey, we care about our professor. I would have been like, I don't know, whatever.
Fair. Yeah. And also, I mean, I don't know whether that was like a gentle way, like almost like if you think that somebody is like in danger of harming a building full of people, that you're like, this is the only way that we're going to be able to like approach the killer dog so they're not going to like bite
You're
us
not
or
in
something.
trouble.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. But I mean, I don't know. Anyway, what would follow is I had to be evaluated by a team of psychiatrists for 3 hours And I don't know this part of it. My therapist, who I've seen my therapist for, I think it's like now 17 years or whatever. But she was like, they're trying to determine that you're not bipolar. That was what she said to me.
I see. Okay. So they thought whatever was happening that day was like a manic episode or something.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, so if that was the determination, then what is my question. But it was like, this was in 2013. I mean, obviously there was like law around not discriminating on the basis of disability or whatever. Yeah. Not that, I mean, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I don't know. All of that's to say that like, I think it's a weird move.
Yeah.
But I think that I don't know that they would have, if I somehow failed the test, would have been like, you're out of here.
Yeah, I was going to say, what would have
I don't know what would have happened.
Just
right.
Get you help in that direction or something?
Yeah. But what would follow was, I guess, like, I did fine on the test. They were like, I remember this. It was like, I had a meeting after the psychiatrist's meeting with the dean, the associate dean who called me, and then this guy Cliff, who was like a guy at school. And it was Cliff actually who later, like the dean and the associate dean, after the meeting with all of us, because basically I was like, I'm so sorry, I get that I messed up.
Did you explain to them what was happening in that class?
Yeah, I basically was like, I was just so excited.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry, and I messed up. And here, I remember I brought like a syllabus that I basically, like, I made a syllabus at the beginning of the semester, but then I made like a revised syllabus of like, okay, here's where we're at, and here's what we have left, and here's what we're going to do every single class.
Right.
Because I was like, I understand that maybe if I didn't have enough of a plan, that like I might have been less precious about the time we had together.
Right.
And I explained to them, and they knew, like, school was canceled later that day.
Right. I was going to say, that's a weird circumstance, too. There's only 5 students there. We're all probably thinking about the fact that it's snowing.
Right.
This was a different than a regular class.
It was. But also, I was like, I get that I'm wrong. And I think that for them, the dean and this guy, Jim, that was like a kind of sufficient in addition to like also watching me a little more closely for the rest of the semester. But Cliff, I remember, because I met with him separately later, he was like, you're just clueless, aren't you? And I was like, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
Yeah. Like, so anyway, because I think he just was like, didn't trust me and was like, you should be out of our school. And, you know, whatever. But anyway, the semester like ends up fine. And this is like a little bit of a brag, but it's also a weird. And so that's why I want to say it. So basically, like, I have that whole interaction. The dean is like the president, basically. Right, like what he says goes in this kind of a context. And like, I would do stand up. I finished the semester, and then I sent the dean a video of my stand up because I was like, hey, just, you know, thanks for being cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for the semester, whatever. And I was visiting at this school with like an eye at the time. At the beginning of the semester, I was like, oh, I really want them to consider me for a full-time job. And then I like did stand up and was like, I don't want any of this at all. Yeah. And he responded to my email with the video of my stand up. And it was fine. Like, it was like a second type of performance. Like, I'm not saying there weren't like moments, but like, we're not talking, you know, it wasn't like good.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, I thought I was like sending it to anybody, like the whole plane, you know, anybody. But he responds back to me. He's like, thank you for sending this. Like, really funny. Here, you know, was a part that I liked or something. I remember I made a joke about Hitler at the time. It was like a riff about like, but he was so organized, which is like kind of hack, you know, but like whatever. And he responded, he's like, at first when I saw this video, I was nervous that we were going to get notes from like alumni and trustees about like the professor we have who loves Hitler or something, but we didn't get it. And also, this is very funny, which was nice. And he's like, and also I'm wondering, I don't think we considered you enough for a full-time position. Are you interested in submitting your materials for that purpose? And it was such an interesting, like, I started this semester wanting nothing more than that. And then at the end of the semester,
and through all this different kind of weird stuff, and you're like, fuck you, Cliff, look now. But then you're like, you know, like,
Totally.
Not what you want anymore, though.
Right. It wasn't what I want. And it was like such an interesting thing. And so I say that because it's like, it is just an interesting, to me, I do believe it's an interesting part of the story. I get that it's kind of braggy, but it's also just weird enough.
But it comes together. Yeah. It
Yeah.
like makes it come together, the whole story, which honestly, we've talked for a while, but we needed all of it. It was it's interesting to know kind of a little bit of the background of the professing. I don't think that's the word, but and then to get into this, how you started stand up, so combined with both of those things, and and just like it is a bad idea that you did that. Well, one that you had this crazy meeting where you're too caffeinated and you decide like, I'll just do stand up. I'm just a comedian now, which is hilarious, and we all say things like that when you first start because you don't really know. But then do that class is just like,
what are you thinking?
Well, I don't even know that, because I can see you, and I think you're right. You're just so excited at that. And that's, like I wouldn't have faulted you for that at all, but for them to be so concerned about it is like, interesting way to start your stand-up career is to be like, I did like an hour and a half for my students for no reason, and then I was evaluated by a psychiatrist. Like that's how it went first. Oh my God, I think it was a great story.
Thank you.
And this is it works out in the end, right?
Yeah.
Here you are. You've done 10 years now, and great at it, Is it though? Like, because it's like, how stand-up is, and it's like, it's going great. Yeah. But then, like, recently somebody was like, hey, do you want to do a show? It's on a Thursday. It's not paid. It's in a tent outside a strip club in New Jersey. Yeah. And I was like, could I do every Thursday? Yeah, like, you're like,
so it's like,
I do want to do that. Yeah.
You have moments where it's like, is it going great? You know what I mean? So,
no, which is what it is. And I think, honestly, that part of this is my philosophy a little bit, but a part of that keeps you good, because if you get too far above yourself and then all of a sudden you're not in reality anymore. So but okay, so where can people follow you and find you to come see you?
Totally.
Besides the strip club tent or whatever.
Every Thursday. I'm at Liz Glazer on like everything. Twitter, it's at Elizabeth Glazer because I'm always in trouble on there. And no, I don't even go on there. And Liz Glazer is taken by somebody else. I think a librarian somewhere. Yeah. So I was gonna be like, I want to kill her. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, just I'm around.
Just follow and then you can see where your shows are.
DearLizGlazer.com.
There you go. DearLizGlazer.com. Yeah, if you want to read the full education bio there and know all that stuff.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for doing it. We love having you in Seattle. And so this is going to go up like right after we do this. So if you are listening to this and you're in Seattle, I'm not supposed to tell you, but on the secret show tonight.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to drop in. So,
I'm excited for that.
Maybe Blake will stop by. Fun. Which actually we are sold out, but still. I normally don't
I'm so excited.
give hints. Mm-hmm. It's a great show. Yeah. And you're at Club Comedy too, so if people want to see the full 7 minutes, whatever it is, you can see that either tonight or tomorrow as well.
That's true.
Okay. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe, give us a like or whatever. If you're listening, rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff.
Hey, Daryl.
Hey, Daryl. Daryl Strawberry, thank you again for watching. But right now, you can just keep watching Dumb Pitches.
You're weird.
Yes.